Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the video lecture of wireless cellular and 4G LTE, module number 3, lecture number 7 on channel structures of LTE. So, in this particular channel structure of LTE, so today we will be seeing how the shared channels are being made to work, okay, with respect to the downlink. Okay, basically there are two criteria. One is uplink, another is nothing but the downlink. Okay, you can even categorize with uplink frequencies and downlink frequencies. Okay, but now similarly with respect to the frequencies, we also have a concept called with respect to channel, that is how you are going to share your channel, which is more important. Okay, the very first thing is the channels are the wireless channels. Okay, and the second thing is, if you are increasing the number of users from one to many. Okay, now whether you will use only one channel, or if you want to go for multiple channels, or using a single channel, you will share the bandwidth. Okay, or you will share in terms of TDM, or you can go with the CDM. Okay, but basically now we are more focusing on LTE. Okay, but in LTE we will deal with only OFDM, that is orthogonal frequency division multiplexing. Okay, so now today we will see how this downlink shared channels are going to work with respect to LTE. Okay, so in this downlink shared channels, okay, basically this downlink shared channels, they will be focusing more on the physical layer pre-processing or physical layer processing. Okay, for some specific transport channels. Okay, like they include some kind of downlink shared channels and some kind of downlink control channels. Okay, and also broadcasting channels and also multicast. These are other two different categories of communication. Okay, like multicasting, okay, then broadcasting, okay, uplink and the downlink. Okay, now but here we will only focus on the downlink shared channels. Okay, in this downlink shared channels, if you look at this diagram, that is figure number 7.8, which is OFDM signal generation with n users. Here the number of users are n. From what it starts from 1 2 3 4 till n data lines. You can call it as a data lines, or you can call it the number of users. Okay, with n users, where P/S denotes the parallel to serial converter. Okay, this is the another important type of the block in communication system, where this block will be directly we will obtain the frequency division multiplexer signals. Okay, in terms of serial, they are not parallel, they are all are serial, that is bit by bit. We can call it as simply bit by bit. Okay, so in this particular diagram, okay, we have resource mapping. Okay, then we do IFFT, that is inverse fast Fourier transform, and then serial to parallel to serial converter, but making sure that before the generating your signals, you need to add the cyclic prefix. Okay, now in this diagram there are two domains. One is frequency domain, another is time domain. Okay, usually whenever we go for the conversion from the analog signal to from any domain, from time domain to frequency domain, or frequency to time domain, okay, we use some kind of algorithms, we use some kind of transformations. Okay, similarly in this LTE we use the frequency domain at the input part and the time domain at the particular output part. Okay, although the transport channels implementations, okay, with respect to transport channel processing, okay, everything will be like there will be some kind of some or the other processing techniques are used, either it is a transport, or whether it is a physical, or whether it is a data layer. Okay, so when it comes to the transport channel processing, okay, where we do such like some channel codings. Okay, we go for rate matching, then we go for symbol mapping, MIMO processing, that is multiple input and multiple output processing. Okay, and some kind of OFDM modulation. Okay, which are being specified, like step by step analysis will be done. Okay, before the transmission of the OFDM signals. Okay, then apart from this particular diagram here, okay, when it comes to the physical downlink shared channels, okay, we also call it as in short PDSCH. Okay, the data transmission in the PDSCH, it is completely based on the concept of shared channel transmission. Okay, for example, if you want to transmit some sort of the binary numbers or binary data onto the channel, okay, then it has to be sent through the physical channel. Okay, now that is what the main important topic or main concern is, that whether the channel is a single channel or whether it is a multiple channel or whether this channel is your shared channel. Okay, but here the focus is more on shared channel transmission. Okay, where the physical layer resources, okay, that is nothing but the source blocks which are available, okay, they are treated as the common source and that can be dynamically shared among the different user entities. Okay, and other than that, the dynamic multiplexing of user entity is also done by scheduler, okay, on 1 millisecond time interval, just like your TDM and FDM, right? Between the two data numbers, between the two data, we use some sort of gap. We call it as a guard band. Okay, so that difference between the two data is almost about 1 millisecond time interval, just like between the two data. Because whenever you go for multiplexing, right, you need to use some sort of algorithm. You should make use of some technique such that the signal should not be get overlapped, the signal should not get aliased. Okay, you should take all these precautions before transmission. Okay, so therefore when it comes to the physical layer here, right, so all the blocks, whatever the blocks which are received from the upper layer, they are being subdivided into different blocks and they are added with some cyclic prefix. Okay, whether it can be a 4-bit, it can be 8-bit, or it can be 32-bit. Okay, based on that, the division of blocks, okay, we go for multiplexing of the signals. Okay, and this is done by scheduler on a millisecond time interval. Okay, so this is one of the way where the large portion of the radio resource can be allocated to a specific user entity which is suitable for packet data applications. Okay, even this concept can also be linked to your overlap save method and overlap add method, where the block length or the block's size, okay, which is a too large, it can be a 12-bit or it can be beyond that. Okay, we cannot say the length of the block is fixed, it is complete, it is always varying, right? Here you can see in the diagram, it starts from 1 to n. Okay, so if you want to transmit the whole 1 to n data on a single channel, then it becomes very difficult for the transmission. Okay, it becomes a huge, the block size will be large. So therefore, instead of sending the whole data from 1 to n, we will divide into different sub blocks. Based on that particular sub blocks, we apply some kind of cyclic prefix. Okay, other than that, we make use of some interval gap between the data. Okay, so in this way I can allocate my complete resources to a specific user entity by making use of packet data applications. Okay, other than that, doing all this mechanism, okay, with a shared channel transmission, the opportunistic scheduling, multi-user diversity can also be obtained. Okay, then what is happening in the channel mapping? Okay, as it is mentioned here, okay, that the transport channel processing such as channel coding, we have rate matching, okay, symbol mapping, memo processing, uh, various other techniques are shown. Okay, so therefore when it comes to the channel mapping, okay, then this DLSCH, okay, data link, okay, shared channel, which is shown in figure 7.9. okay, here you can see how these are being allocated, how they are being divided. Okay, so based on the channels, whether it is a logical channel or whether it is a transport channel. Okay, so based on the logical channels and the transport channels as well as the physical channels, they are being subdivided and the whole blocks of the logical channels are being sent to a single block called as DLSCH. Okay, data link shared channel, okay, information, or some sort of hierarchy mechanisms can be also be done. Okay, which is shown in the figure number 7. Okay, so now we will see one by one how this can be done with respect to encoding and also modulation. Okay, so once you decide that whether the data has to be transmitted either over the transport channel or the physical layer, okay, by making use of all these additional facilities on a shared channels. Okay, now when it comes to the encoding, okay, and also the modulation, what type of modulation you want to make use of, okay, what type of channel coding you should do. Okay, because there are various modulation techniques and the channel coding techniques are available when it comes to either the wireless communication or with respect to the wired communication. Okay, so therefore based on the type of shared channel, okay, it makes use of the rate of 1/3 convolutional turbo codes. Okay, this turbo codes, it is nothing but it's one of the type of code, just like your Hamming code. Okay, that these topics fall under the era, information theory and coding. Okay, there we see some kind of arithmetic coding. Okay, some kind of Hamming code. Okay, some kind, just like you are building a tree diagram. Okay, so these turbo codes are one of the type of the codes which are used in the communication system, and they are we call it them as convolutional turbo codes. Okay, and what we do with the rate matching. Okay, so rate matching is used in order to achieve an effective channel coding rate, okay, that matches the payload capacity determined by the number of resource block allocated to the transmission block for even given user entity and modulation scheme. Okay, so this rate matching is the another topic which fall under the modulation and encoding. Okay, this is just like the bits which we sent, it should be get matched at the destination. Okay, just like your source and number should match with the destination number. Okay, if they match, we call it as there is an effective communication. So same thing here also we do, that if the rate matching is done, okay, then we can say that the effective channel coding has been done such that it matches with the payload capacity. Or sometimes even you can determine the payload capacity based on the number of bits which they are received. Okay, and also based on the payload capacity, even you can go for determining the resource blocks. Okay, for example, if the resource blocks are transmitted at 10, okay, if the received are 9, it means that one block has been lapsed. So therefore you can request for the retransmission, because the resources are already allocated but they are not received at the receiver. So therefore this thing has to be taken care before the transmission or once they are received. Okay, but other than that, the redundancy version used for the repetition or puncturing depends on HARQ transmission, that is hybrid automatic repeat request. That is what I said, that if any one of the block which is being transmitted, or if they get corrupted, if they get if they just get out of the transmission channel, okay, due to some kind of disturbance, okay, due to some kind of the modulation process, or during even encoding. Okay, many times it happens during encoding, some of the bits get eliminated. Okay, so during that conditions you need to take care by making use of this transmission mechanism, okay, which depends on this HARQ, that is called as hybrid automatic repeat request. Okay, some kind of puncturing has to be done, some kind of repetition has to be done, or some kind of the redundancy versions are been, or the bits are added to the actual transmission data, and is indicated explicitly by E node B. Okay, because we have seen very first at the beginning of the LTE system, that is E node B, that is enhanced node B. This E represents enhanced node B. Okay, this is with respect to channel coding. Okay, now when it comes to the modulation, right, which type of modulation you want to make use of? Okay, the modulation schemes which are allowed for this channel coding or this shared channel are QPSK, that is quadrature phase shift keying. Okay, 16-bit of QAM, or it can be 64, and it is they are chosen based on the channel quality indicator. Okay, and this channel quality indicator is been provided by the user entity. And other than the channel quality, there are other various parameters like the size of the transport block. Based on the size of the transport block, it can be either 16-bit, or it can be 14-bit, or it can be QPSK. Okay, if you look at this, all the modulation schemes are digital modulation, they are not analog modulation. Okay, because LTE is a digital modulation technique. LTE fall under the digital communication, so therefore here we make use of digital modulation scheme rather than the analog modulation scheme. Okay, now what is this transport size block? If the size of the transport block is varied based on the capacity, okay, then what we can do here is the transport block size, okay, which is nothing but the redundancy version, and the modulation orders are indicated in the downlink control information. This is they are already indicated, they show some kind of information, some kind of control information in the downlink shared channels. Okay, and when it comes to the MIMO, for MIMO, the spatial multiplexing with 2 code words, okay, different modulation and coding can be used for each code word, okay, which requires additional signaling. So some sort of mechanisms are being included for this such kind of examples where this can also be benefiting your modulation scheme, and it also enhances your mode of transmission. And even if the channel are mapped to each other, or if they are shared with other channels, okay, but still you will be receiving your source block, or resource allocation can be done in a very good manner, or it can be in a proper manner, okay, such that the transmission will never fail. Okay, so this is how the modulation scheme and some kind of encoding modulation can be done. The very important thing here is this particular block diagram. Okay, so if the question is asked about the OFDM signal generation, okay, so do draw this particular diagram and explain about each block in detail, denoting what the transport channel does, okay, and what the physical layer does. So this paragraph, along with the channel modulation and encoding, if you write with particular diagram, then it will be more sufficient to explain also. Okay.